one of the things I did in one of the scenarios or the campaigns that I built is you start with the map, you're underground, and you got an adventure, and the trail is underground, and do your story. And you get to the end, and then you go to the next map. The next map, typically when you go to the next map, you're in a completely different place. This map, I built it exactly the same. So when you win this first map to go to the second map in the campaign, you're right where you left off. I had to build that twice in the map. So you're just continuing the story. And then when you get to the town, or whatever you're going to have to win, that's where you start the next map. And then you finish that map, you're here, and then that's where you start on the next map. It was a little challenging, to be honest, because it had to be identical. In the whole view of the part you're building, it had to be identical, but it was a nice transition, like, oh, I'm right where I left off, and now this is what I have to do next. Or there was another time where I took I used the same map twice. So you had to build your town here, go up to the bay. There's a huge ocean bay. Up there, capture, do whatever I had to do. Now that I did that, I have to go back down to your hometown and do this, whatever it was. So you're using the same map twice. And what's cool about that is it saved a lot of time, of course, but you were able to completely change the map, even though it was the same one. You're using it twice, but it fits the story because you're still in the same place. Worked out pretty well.
Yeah. So how would you go about to create such a map? Like, did you have to recreate everything, or did you like save it at a point where you knew, like, now I just have to add a story? Or what was your choice of again, I'm at a loss of words. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what I did. I understand your question.
Yeah.
Built map, done. Okay, test that first part of the map where I have to go up to that town up north and grab that artifact, whatever it is. Play test that. It's balanced. It's good. And then save it, of course.
Yeah.
Rename it to another map. I've got the exact same map right there. Now, instead of my start point being down here, it's now going to be up here. And I have to rearrange the creatures and the monsters for play balance in that regard and changing the story. But the layout, the terrain, all of the castles, everything is exactly the same. But now all I really had to do is change the win scenario and the purpose of the map to go back down, replay the balance. Now there's going to be I introduced new creatures into the game. You have to fight these creatures now instead of those, because now you're leveled up, and now it's going to be a little more difficult. So I made minor changes to the actual creatures and the storyline, but I really didn't have to change the terrain or the adventure items or the towns or nothing at all, because it's still the same place.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really, really, really cool. I was thinking, because you mentioned this post-nuclear kind of setting. You used to have the Forge, right, for the Armageddon's Blade,
Yes.
The first expansion there. Did you get to make any maps using the Forge?
It's a funny story. I'm glad you asked that question too. Forge. The Forge was not with us. That got out on the wires in the game design docs that there was going to be this new town called a Forge. And the thing that the fans flipped out about was that they were going to have electricity.
Yeah.
Light bulbs. And when literally the lead game designer, Dave Mullock, got death threats in email if we were to put that game or put that element in the game. Like, it's a game.
Yeah.
It's a game. But he took it very seriously. And we did back. This is long before social media or anything like that. We did some research on who the guy was. He was an ex-Marine. They found out all kinds of stuff as best we could, and the guy was just kind of a freaky dude. Like, And talking to the design teams, like, do we really need to do this? No, we really don't. So they took out the Forge town.
Yeah.
You know, so as far as like designing for it, honestly, really didn't get a chance to. So it was taken out pretty quickly after it was introduced in the game design diaries.
Yeah.
So no, unfortunately, I didn't get to do it. I just thought that there's someone out there that serious of a fan, like, dude, you need to kiss a girl, man. You need to do something. Come on. And so, unfortunately, yeah, we didn't get to use it. But however, what's funny is in the second expand, was it? Actually, it's been 20 years. That was in which expansion was that in? I don't even remember. Was that the first one or the second
fourth one? Yeah, it's the first one. Yeah.
So if you watch the intro in that game, the light bulb is there. You can see the light bulb in the intro of the game, even though it's not in the game. So, and there's a lot of stuff like that. Like on the original box cover of Heroes of Might and Magic 3, there's a screenshot of the game, and there's an item there that you can visit. That's nowhere in the game. It got pulled. I don't remember what it was, to be honest with you, but it was supposed to be a thing where you can get like spell points or something like that. It ended up getting pulled, but the artwork still has the thing. Sorry.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, just little things like that got put in. But yeah, the Forge Town, I would have liked it, to be honest with you, because there were ideas. Now, granted, this is 20 years. I think there were going to be kind of a primitive version of guns as well. If I'm wrong, I might be wrong on that, but so very early technology as far as like light bulbs, electricity, and ammunition, gunpowder, things like that. So, and the fans just didn't take too kindly to that, so we ditched it.
Yeah, it's real boring, I think, as well, because it fits into the overall story. If you play like the Might and Magic 7 games, you have these blasters, and you have this kind of a Forge faction. You can see this Heavenly Forge and all in the cutscenes as well. So
exactly, it would have been a good ad. I really do.
Yeah,
I think it would have been great to put in there to add kind of another completely different element to the game. And now with Heart of the Abyss, you've got pirates. You've got a whole pirate town. Oh, like that's interesting because you've got your Heroes of Might and Magic world set in a certain time. Pirates really weren't a thing until much later. You know what I mean? But it works. I've played a little bit with the pirates, but honestly, not too much. I need to get to know them a little better and what they do, what their powers, what their creatures actually can do. Haven't had the opportunity really to do that yet. I've been playing basically the old school stuff that I know. But I like that they put the pirates in there. And I'm seeing, like, I'm on several groups on Facebook having to do with Heroes of Might and Magic 3, and people are designing these towns, and they're great, man. It's like, this is really good stuff. And the fact that, like I said earlier, the game is still available, and we can still develop for this game so far after the fact, it's incredible. How long this game is going to be just loved, honestly. Is it ever going to fade off into the sunset? Because usually your typical game life is probably 1 to 2 years. That's if it's good. If it's really good, it's 1 to 2 years, and then they're off to the next thing. Very, very few games have done what Heroes of Might and Magic 3 has done. And it's just honestly, it's unheard of. There are so many games like Half-Life, legendary, changed the way we play shooters. Incredible. That game blew everyone's mind. Okay. Heroes of Might and Magic 3, of course. Even Heroes of Might and Magic 2, which also, you play Heroes 1, very cartoony, honestly kind of cheesy. I played it a little bit like, this is okay. 2, better. Oh man, they actually turned it into a serious fantasy role-playing game. 3, just masterpiece. They really, really, really mastered the whole thing. And if I may jump into Heroes 4 a little bit, I was on the very early stages developing Heroes 4. And like I said earlier, when you're designing a good product because everyone is excited about it. It's like, this is going to be so good. Unfortunately, Heroes 4 didn't have that feel. It's like, we're releasing this game because the stockholders want us to release the game. And there wasn't the same excitement really at all. And unfortunately, when the game came time to ship, it wasn't finished. There were some elements in the game that literally were not in the game. Or release it in a patch. Like, you cannot do that. You can. The multiplayer aspect, not even available when they released Heroes 4. I'm like, guys, seriously, man. And I mean, I worked on the beginning of it, the very early stages. I had transferred to 3DO in Texas shortly after, so I didn't get to finish Heroes 4. But just to see that happen, like, that's just lazy, man. That's lazy. And that's okay. It's okay. Like, really, it's not. And for that reason, I think Heroes 4 just didn't do as well as Heroes 3. It could have been great because the graphics and everything, it was a new engine, but using the same, point system, spell system, all that stuff, with improvements, of course. But it didn't have the same feel, the same magic, for lack of a better term, that Magic 3 did. And at that point, after Heroes 4, 3DO went out of business. New World Computing closed down because of the .com crash. And now, who owns the rights to the Heroes franchise now?
It's Ubisoft.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they made Heroes 5. I've never played it. I've not played that, honestly. So maybe I'll look at it, but it's just like I don't really have the desire to, because Heroes 3 was such a great game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, not only that, also, they took everything you knew out and like changed the world, changed the stories, kind of made it more like Warcraft looking,
Exactly. It's kind of, they took the lore from everything we knew in the heroes that we love.
Yeah.
You kind of recreated the wheels. Like, you really didn't need to do that. It's like writing Lord of the Rings. What are you doing? It's already a masterpiece.
Yeah.
If you're going to use it, use it.
Yeah.
Not really trash it and start over again.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, then they could just like do a similar game instead and just name it something else, And I guess they kind of tried it. Like they renamed it from Heroes of Might and Magic to Might and Magic Heroes, and it's like
they did.
Why?
Yeah. And there are other similar games that came out at the time.
Yeah.
That this is such a Heroes ripoff, man. Age of Wonder.
Oh yeah.
Not a bad game. Not bad, but it's clearly a copy. One actually that reminds me of another story. I'm ADDing at this point, but during the development of Heroes 3, there was another game called Roller Coaster. It was Railroad Tycoon and Railroad Tycoon 2. A little inside information here. We were all testing Heroes 3, and this is back when we were finishing the testing on Heroes 2 Gold. Somebody had bought the Railroad Tycoon game, Railroad Tycoon 2, put it in the CD player, pushed the thing in, and the little Heroes 2 icon popped up. Remember back in the day when CDs did that?
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait, what's that? And we pulled it out, put the Heroes disc in there, popped up Heroes, of course, put the Railroad Tycoon 2 disc in there, came up with the Heroes. So the programmers dove into the code. You can deconstruct and all that stuff. And it turns out the makers of Railroad Tycoon 2 had stolen the engine of Heroes 2 and then designed their own game.
What?
And oh yeah, and I mean, if you looked at it, they did a good job of disguising it. Because it's a totally different game. You're building railroads, But you can see the drag and drop stuff, and you can see all the things. This is the same engine. And so naturally, lawyers got involved and everything. They got their pantsuit off of them because they literally stole the game engine. Kind of crazy. So, and I don't know if that ever got out or not.
No.
Statute of limitations is long over, but it's just little things like that. Deciding people know that you have something good.
Yeah.
They're going to do what they can to steal it and make their own.
Yeah.
If they just want to license the engine, all the better. But they just decided, Well, they'll never.
Yeah.
Well, because the code and the comments on the code, like, oh, I wrote that. That's my code. What are you doing? It's funny stuff. Funny stuff.
Yeah, that I have never heard that actually, so that's totally new for me. So
So, and something else I'm actually surprised about. Now, I don't know if this has happened. No one has licensed the Heroes 3 engine to make any other games. Now, they've used it to make expansions, but I'm talking about taking that engine and creating an entirely new kind of game with the same engine. That's something I have not seen, and I would love to see that. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Like you go on Steam, all of these really cool retro style games are back. Well, can someone go back and grab that engine, license it however they can, and create a whole new kind of game with the Heroes 3 engine? I think it would be really cool. And I'm just surprised because it's such a solid gaming engine that it's there. That's 90% of the battle is creating a solid engine, and then you just create the stories and the characters and the art. I'm just really surprised that hasn't happened.
yeah, that's really really an interesting take. Actually, I never thought about that as well. It's like, I mean, that has a lot of potential, but I guess since it's in the hands of Ubisoft, I guess that will never happen.
I'm sure they own all the thing and everything. Something else I want to say about Heroes 3 and Heroes 2 for that matter.
Yeah.
The music.
Mm.
I'll ask you, do you like the soundtracks for those games? What do you think of them?
I love them so much. It's like, the funny thing is, like, even my girlfriend, she can also listen to the Heroes of Might and Magic 3 tunes, and she will go around humming the tunes. Like, I mean, that never happens with any other games.
Exactly. Yeah. The one that caught my attention, there is a piano theme in Heroes of Might and Magic 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm testing the game, and we had really nice stereo speakers back then, where I was, and I was talking to someone about development. Hey, they got this bug, and pretty soon everybody just stopped. I was just listening to the music, like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
And like, this is not video gaming. It's like movie soundtrack. It's just incredible stuff.
Yeah.
We all just stopped, like, what was that? This is the soundtrack for this video game? Are you kidding me? And the whole soundtrack, it has opera, it has symphonic. I mean, it's a full orchestrated soundtrack. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And so that really, like, I can listen to this all day long.
Yes.
The Heroes 3 soundtrack, even better, because it's literally a full orchestra. He got Rob
King? Yeah?
Yes, thank you,
yes.
Rob King. I first met him. I was like when you meet your favorite celebrity, you're like, oh, I'm so starstruck. I'm like, wow. Met him, super cool dude, really good guy, just incredible musician, and really good songwriter.
Yeah.
But I heard the Heroes 3 music, and like, dude, this is like award-winning movie soundtrack music. And it's just, my favorite piece is the Stronghold. Stronghold is my all-time favorite out of that entire soundtrack.
Yeah,
it is. There's another piece that you can only hear in the Secret campaign that I made. The main theme for that, also very, very good, but no one hears it because so few people have actually played the Secret campaign. Be good. And and having said that, again, the game came out in 1999. You can look on YouTube, search for orchestras around the world that are performing the Heroes of Might 3 soundtrack 20 years later.
Yeah.
Saying something. That is just incredible.
It is.
So games.
Yeah.
But it's just the music, of course, that's a whole nother part of my life. I'm a drummer. I play keyboards, write music, jam with it. Music is very much cornerstone of my life.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing that really gets me going is the music. And then with video gaming, like we've been talking about this whole time, creating a good story with the map, and then on top of everything else, matching the music to the mood of the game itself.
Yeah.
One of the things.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think that's one of the things, with Rob King and Paul Anthony Romero. Like they're actually able to create these feelings, just as you say. It's incredible what they can do. And actually, if I can brag a bit, for my third campaign, we actually got Paul Anthony Romero to make a campaign theme for it. So I have an entirely, he made like an orchestrated version as well, and it was lovely.
That is awesome. Yeah. So you got a hold of them.
Yeah, it's
that is really. Where is he now? I mean, I've never met Paul.
Really?
Is he in the LA area? I mean, I don't even know where he is or anything.
Yeah, he's in LA, I think.
Just crazy good music.
Yeah.
And one of the little things that I think made a big difference in the game, in Heroes of Might and Magic 2, when you went from screen to screen, like say you went from the adventure map, you go into your town, and the music would change. But it was kind of a punch you in the stomach twitch.
Yeah.
Like that. Just, So I was like, why don't we do this in Heroes 3? When you go from the adventure map into your town, the music fades and then fades to new. And that was something I suggested. Is like, because it's not just such a, like a slamming door. Yeah. It's a graceful transition from one to the other, and it actually worked really, really well.
Yeah, I haven't even thought about that, but it's as when you say it's like, oh yes, wait a minute, there's actually like some sort of a transition there.
Yeah, you transition instead of just like you're pushing pause on a CD player and then starting on a different track. Like, oh, what? You know. But yeah, just the transition. I thought that was kind of a big deal. It really made it just a smooth transition from one section of the map to another section, and then you go to another town. Like if you're going through 2 or 3 towns, you can go from each town, and it's fading in and out from each town to town.
Yeah.
So it's not just a harsh transition.
That's a really good detail. Well done for implementing that.
So, and then the little things like that. And again, coming from a non-fantasy background, one of the things I put in the game as well is when you go into the town and you build your creatures, you used to have to, if I remember this correctly, I don't remember how I did it. Anyway, you had to go to click on each individual creature generator.
Oh, yeah.
And then escape, and then go back in and escape, and go back in and escape. Click on it was either the water mill or something like that, the water pump or something, and it brought up an entire menu where you just double click. Like, oh, it's so much better.
Yeah.
It's quicker. So you don't have to waste so much time clicking in and out. So I just made that better.
Yeah.
And it's something I implemented as well. One thing I also like that's been in the Heroes games all along is if you want to know what something is, right click on it. What is this? That's a gem. This is anything. You just right click on it. It tells you what it is. Like that is something that I think should be in every piece of software.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a new user, you can turn them on, you can turn them off. What is this? Here it is, instant help.
Yeah.
And you learn how to play the game, and it's that much better of a interface experience. So you can not waste your time learning how to play the game and what everything does. It's right there.
Yeah.
It gives it to you, and it's really, really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was around. I must have been 7 or something when Heroes 3 came out, and. I could dive straight into it as well. I would get my ass kicked, of course, but then you found the sheets online and you kind of went from there.
Right. Exactly. One thing I will say about this too, when you were after the first Heroes 3 had been released, we were getting tons and tons of letters from fans naturally, but one of the groups surprised me, to be honest with you. Senior citizens absolutely loved Heroes of Might 3. Like, okay, why? You don't think it's like grandma playing Call of Duty. I was like, but they liked it because it made you think. You had to build your character. You're following a story. you're having to use strategy, all of these things you're having to use your mind. So it keeps their mind active while they're having a great time. They want to play video games, but they don't want to play anything violent and horrible and stupid. This game is actually a very smart, thought-provoking, forces you to think and strategize and plan ahead. And seriously, we got tons of email from like nursing homes, older people, all this stuff. Like, cool, it's awesome, and I loved it because the game. It didn't take much to run the game, so you can play it on just about anything.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool. And like you said, 7-year-old kids can play it.
Yeah.
90-year-old people can play it, and that's a good game. When you can cover that much of an audience base, then you're golden. You know what I mean? So
it's basically from 0 to 99. Like you see in toys and everything.
And it worked really well. And I was glad to see that. I introduced the game to as many people as possible, and if you're a fantasy fan, you're gonna love the game.
Yeah.
But people that didn't know it, like I came in blind. Other people are like, this game is really great. There's one more turn, and I'm building my character, and it's 2 a.m. And like, but I gotta do this. I'm over there, and then one more turn was a very common theme throughout the entire experience with Heroes of Might and Magic 3.
Yeah, that's a classic. Yeah, and a lot of memes around the internet now are based on that thing as well. You see like a skeleton sitting by the computer and like, one more turn.
Exactly, man. And that's really, even when your lead game designer, your lead programmer, after a year of just elbow deep in the game and in the code and in the development, but at the end of the day, they're playing a game like a regular person and having a blast.
Yeah.
Like, we've got something here, and it's been a success obviously ever since. It's just such a great piece. It's a masterpiece. It really is.
Yeah, I can only agree. It's like it almost seems like there's no way to truly like master it. There's so many ways to play, and even though it's sort of a simple thing as well, as you mentioned, like 7-year-old kids and senior citizens, everybody can play it. But to master it, it takes years of time, and like reading guides and like math and everything.
Exactly. I mean, we took that into consideration when we were building the game. Like I said, some of the maps, kill your enemy.
Yeah.
That's it. And then some of them have very story-driven maps and things like that in campaigns. So we tried to cover all of our bases, and the even in the tutorial, it wasn't just to now do this and now do this and now do this.
Yeah.
It's like a little story in the tutorial, to make it more enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly. And you get to play it yourself. It's not like, in most modern games, it's like, now press square. And it's like, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's making you play the game, but also showing you how to play the game.
Yeah.
And why, what does this do and what does that do and why are we building? Get your experience, get your minds built and your town built, and it does a really good job in a concise way, teaches you how to play the game.
Yeah. So did you have like any say on like how the creatures were designed and all that, or was that already like set in stone and you just had to work with it?
No, it wasn't set in stone because during the QA process, we were able to test every single creature, every single hero, every single spell, every single skill. And like I said earlier, it's very tedious. But having done that gave us the opportunity to make the game that much more balanced.
Yeah.
So, for example, you've got a genie, okay, and you got one genie versus one imp, for example. Okay, what's the balance between those two if you were to get into a fight? If the genie is just going to literally just stomp on the imp, well, there's a problem there. It has to be you have to make sure that it's either beatable or losable, but not in such a way where they're just going to annihilate the planet when they step on you.
Yeah.
You know? So, or vice versa. If you're going to approach a creature and you're not even going to break a sweat, like that was the dragon, really? That's it? Whole bar,
Yeah.
So a lot of back and forth with massaging the point systems, the strikes, the defenses, the second strike,
Yeah.
or do they come up, hit you and run away, or do they hit you twice because they get good morale? I mean, there's all of these pieces of stuff that have to go in there, and it just came to balancing the play.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say, one other game I saw that they spent a ton of time doing that is StarCraft. StarCraft did a remarkably amazing job with balancing not only three different races, but all of the features in those races. They did such a fantastic job balancing. So it was a well-played, game to where if you're going to approach the Protoss, they're not going to stomp on you right away, or you're not going to walk all over them right away. And then now we're into the game, same thing. They've built up, you've built up. It's still a very balanced game. I think Heroes has done the same thing.
Yeah.
Where right away you're balanced. 2 hours into the game, you're still balanced for the most part. It really depends on how you play. If you play poorly, of course, you're not going to be balanced. But it is expected. They give you the opportunity to be more or less balanced throughout the entire game. One thing I didn't understand at the very beginning when I was hating Heroes, my time building my town and building this and building this and building this, and then 4 months later I step out into the world and everything is like, oh, there's 5,000 trolls. Holy crap! I got nothing. This game sucks.
Yeah.
Like, no, you know how to play it. So, but yeah, so it's just, and again, it's all about giving the player, making it fair to a degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Balance. If it's a human player, of course they're going to do their thing. But when you're playing the computer, the AI is smart enough to keep it balanced. As you grow, it grows too.
Yeah.
As long as you are good at the game. So.
Yeah. I think like the AI is able to cheat in some ways. I can't really remember. It's like water walk or flying or something. It's something that is possible, like a glitch or something, that the AI just like walks over everything. I remember there was something. Yeah.
I disabled maps.
Yeah. That's a must.
Fly, disabled.
And all the artifacts that can make you fly as well.
All of that. One of the things, like for example, I built a landlocked map.
Yep.
Okay, there's no water. Why would I have scuttle boat and summon boat? Right. And you go through and you just sort through your spells and your skills. If they're water spells and there's no water, it doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I did that quite a lot because I've played a lot of maps and landlocked maps, or you play water maps. I can't scuttle a boat. Why? Or they'd be smart about it. Look, I can't scuttle a boat now, but if you go over to this thing and complete this quest, now you can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's just you got to be careful and strategic about what you place in your map as far as availability to the player and also the AI.
Yes.
So you can have stuff that the AI can't, or you can set it up to where they have stuff that you can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the AI always have to have quite a big advantage, at least, because so many people have gotten so good at playing this game now. You can't make it like you did it in the beginning of the game, where it's more easy, so to speak.
Exactly. It's been fine-tuned for over 20 years, which is crazy. One of the things I do in my maps is when I'm designing them is you can have the AI have the same win scenario as you do.
Yeah.
Now, on some of my maps, I don't do that. But in some of the maps I do. They're both after the same artifact. They're both after capturing this creature. They're both after whatever the case may be, taking this town. And that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
As gameplay goes. Because instead of coming after you right away, they're going to go after that town. They're going to figure out what that is, and they have to get the same things you do. They have to figure out what's happening. So, and the AI is pretty incredible in this game.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, it's 20 years old, and it's, I mean, of course, there's going to be like a few smaller bugs and, you know, some advantages that you can take, but overall, like the AI is heap smarter, you know, than in like Hero 7, 6, 5, whatever.
Exactly. So, but yeah, they've done, and it's just, even out of the bag, it was just an incredible AI. The guy, I remember the guy, Gus, he was the lead programmer. He was your typical, very nerdy programmer.
Yeah.
The guy, you know, I'm trying to be nice.
We all like nerds here. It's okay.
Oh, he was the nerd. Oh, man. He was the nerd's nerd. He really was. Dude knew programming. He was a machine.
Yeah.
The guy, it was just so wickedly talented and smart with the programming, but not only that, with point systems.
Yeah.
And just, you know, the telling the AI, you know, predictive movement, all of this stuff. He was just like, dude, are you for real? I mean, it was, but I mean, look what he produced.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
Yeah.
And since then, other minds and other programmers have been getting a hold of it and just put those little polishing touches to make it just a little better, you know. So I think it's pretty great.
Yeah, that brings to mind, like, in the Armageddon's Blade expansion, in the Dragon Slayer campaign, you have a map where you have to battle all the rust dragons, you know, these sandy orange looking things. And they are obsessed with master gremlins. So
yes.
They will just attack the gremlins, no matter like how much you have or anything, you know. You can just like space out a lot of gremlins and they will go after them. Like,
right.
Was that an idea like that was supposed to be in there, you think?
If I remember correctly, and again, I think each creature had its favorite favorite creature to fight, basically. You know, I know you can go to the wiki, the Heroes Wiki, and it'll tell you all of this monster strengths and weaknesses and their preferred character to fight.
Yeah.
So, and I know that was the case with the dragons fighting those guys. So, you know, it's just you'd fight them first. You know, so like, what was the creature? It would come, hit you, run away.
Oh yeah, the Harpies, right?
Thank you. Yes, Harpies did that. They hit you, run away. They went mainly towards the lower level creatures, unless they were a certain number above. Then they'd go after the higher end.
Yeah.
So it had to hit a certain level to do that.
Wow.
It's just a lot of little meticulous things that made the game that much more play balanced.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's called like a tribute to Strategist or something. It's like a huge like PDF with like all the strategies, you know, for the game, and it's pretty much like it's called Master of War. Yeah, it's like a Bible for anyone who really wants to become like super great at the game. So it has like every little detail.
Fine. I put it in a link in the video, but
yeah,
that I've seen. But I know that the Heroes 3 Wikipedia, if you will. I mean, there's so much information there. I still look at it like, oh, I didn't know that. You made the game. Yeah, no, I didn't know. You know? And it's just so much information. Like, oh, did you know that this creature can do this, but it has a weakness to this?
Yeah.
Didn't know that. You know, so much work went into the AI and the individual personality and behavior of every single character.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, there's actually like a series called Did You Know? And it's also like a lot of like really in-depth weird stuff, you know, that was going on during the Heroes games, and like small bugs and you know, things taken out of the game and all that. So I think there's a Facebook page, I think it's Heroes 3.5 Wake of Gods or something they call it. I can link them as well. But but they have a lot of things, that you're like, what? What the hell is this? It's like, I guess you know about this one though. It's like a cheat code called Go Solo.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was considering mentioning that or not.
Oh yeah.
That was our go-to tool.
Yeah.
Where basically it was a hard code to make the game play itself.
Yeah.
And what we did is we'd be working all day, testing, manipulating, changing, saving, all that stuff. And we'd have a spreadsheet where, all right, this computer's going to play this map, and everybody would be assigned a game, and go to Go Solo, put it on Quick Combat, and let the game play.
Yeah.
Let the game play itself. And we come back in the morning, which computer won, which computer lost, which one crashed, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
That actually helped us tremendously. And what games were still playing? A lot of them played all night. Like, okay, that's, maybe it's impossible to win this one the way it's set up right now.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times you come back to a win, or you come back to a lose. Okay, how long did it take to lose?
Yeah.
How long did it take to win? If it's like 5 years, or is it 3 months, or is it whatever. And so we learned a lot just by doing the Go Solo code.
Yeah, it works incredibly well. It's I think it was last year or something that I got to hear about it from the person that I make my maps with. It's like,
right.
Why the hell haven't you told me this before? It's like, we've been making maps for 11 years. Why haven't you told me about this feature?
Yeah, lock and key. Do not release this code. No, viewers, I didn't say it first. He did.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah. It's all on me.
Well, but yeah, that actually code that helped us tremendously. I remember in the development of Shadow, they had kept the cheat codes like under lock and key, even from the game designers. Like we just look away, type in the code.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, why? Come on. Do you know about the Fisher-Price cheat code?
Fisher-Price?
Yes.
Which one is that?
And type when you type in your code, NWC Fisher-Price.
Yeah.
Fisher is the PH.
Yeah.
So PHISHERPRICE. It gives the game the Heroes 2 color scheme.
What? Wait a minute.
Heroes 3, but it looks like Heroes 2. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah. But
really
is that
cool.
for the original game as well?
Yeah, you're playing Heroes 3 just like you normally would, but it's got the Heroes 2 color scheme.
Wow.
It's awesome.
That sounds really great. So you mentioned earlier, about some cut features or cut adventure items that are still in the map editor. Was there any features that were cut that you really wish would be in the game? That you can remember. I mean, 20 years. It's hard.
I'm trying to remember. Not that I can recall.
Yeah.
The only one, like I said earlier, if you can be in the map editor and be in the game at the same time, be real time, that would be the only thing I can think of at this point.
Yeah.
As far as balance, as far as character, as far as lore, as far as story building and all that stuff, it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
It's pretty solid. I mean, if you wanted to add more win scenarios and lose scenarios, that was one concern that I had back then. It's like, okay, why can't we escort the president? Why can't we have these, other things now?
Yeah.
Got it. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, there are so many more victory conditions and loss conditions that were not in the original.
Oh, yeah.
So survive for a certain amount of time. In the secret campaign that I made, I used to survive on the final map for 45 days. They had to hard code that because it wasn't put in the editor.
Yeah.
So Welcome to Paradise, Please Hold was the name of that map. And you had to survive for 45 days with hellfire just coming at you the whole time.
Yeah.
So you're an island in the middle, and then you've got 4 islands around, and they're just sending in everything, and you're having to go through literal, I mean, just hell.
Yeah.
You walk around the map, and that's the map where I just let everybody, what, if you ever wanted to put kind of funny little comedic thing in the map,
Yeah.
do it here. So we have tons and tons of just one-liners and jokes and other stuff, references to Gilligan's Island. I mean, all kinds of just really great stuff.
Yeah.
And so while you're getting hammered and trying to survive, you're running into all of these little insider jokes and all these little one-liners and stuff like that. That was the whole point of that secret campaign, is just to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I just brought in all the, well, I can't put this in the map because, this is a very serious, put it in the comedy map. It's great. So all kinds of great jokes and funny stuff, little inside jokes with the level design team, and, really, really awesome, great stuff. So it worked really well. But that code to win the game had to be hard coded by the programmer.
Yeah.
And now it's right here. You know what I mean? So the answer to that question is, well, it's been answered because the people who have developed the game further have put those in.
Yeah.
Which, good job.
Yeah, that's a really, really good job. It's I don't know. Have you played Majesty, the Fantasy Kingdom sim?
No, I've not.
It's like one of those. I think it's one of 3 games that I always go back to, but they have kind of the same thing. It's a scenario called the Fertile Plains, and it's just it's like hordes of monsters just coming into your kingdom and just wreaking havoc all over the place. Right. And I love it. And I've always wanted to do that for Heroes of Might and Magic as well. It's like I really wish that was in the original editor as well. Would have been great.
Right. What to do is what I did in the map that I was talking about earlier is you've got 4 islands, and then you got you in the middle, and you get all your resources, you gather up your troops, you build up your resources, all that stuff. In the corners, you've got island with enemies, and they can't leave the island at all because there's no summon boat, there's nothing like that. But there's a what's it called? Hold on here. A monolith. You got a monolith on a one-way monolith on each of those islands that comes to your island. You're constantly sending through heroes filled with creatures and things like that. So almost every turn, you're getting a new, and all of those towns fully built. So, and they have plenty of resources, and they're just sending in constantly. Like, oh my goodness gracious, it's beatable barely, but it's very challenging. So they can only come in, they can't go out. So you have to run around and just protect as best you can. Use your magic. Use all the magic that you can, like the blind spell. Holy crap, that is really good for this magic. Yeah. You blind all your enemies. You attack them, attack, and they're blind for 2 turns, and it just worked really well because I was trying to figure out how can I have people just come in from all directions. Do the monoliths, the one-way monolith, and have them fully built, have them just sending in heroes constantly, and it's hell, but it was fun.
That's funny because I'm building a map right now that has that exact feature, or actually it has 3 monoliths to always follow the player around the map. So you're gonna see how that works out, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, that's one of the things with a Heroes 3 map editor. It has just so much versatility, and it's almost endless. If you can just imagine how to do it and how to make the AI work for you. It's incredible.
It really is. And I'm glad that the developers who have continued the Heroes 3 saga is that they've done such a great job. The stuff even in the editor is like, oh, I wish I would have had that sooner. Yeah. You know what I mean? So find something. The more terrains, which is great. Yeah. And just the general layout. That's nothing really different, but it's just easier to manipulate everything. You've got a better slide bar. Yeah. Like just interface stuff that is just, it was great then, but it's polished now.
Yeah.
Well, nothing game changing, but I can just work this so much better. It's just so much nicer.
Yeah.
It's more in depth. You know what I mean? So, and I think also that has to do with the HD video versus the standard graphics. That made a big difference as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's a really really good job by I think it's called Baratorch or something. I think that did a HD mod first, and I think they combined it with the Horn of the Abyss later. And
Yes.
I mean, it's incredible to just be able to like stretch it out all over the screen.
Yeah, exactly. The original game was 1080, the resolution, and now you can full screen and everything.
Yeah.
Something about the I know one of the lead artists, Adam McCarthy. The guy he is a god of an artist. He's just incredible. He does tattoo work. He does all kinds of stuff. He works for Disney. He's just wow.
Yeah.
He looked at the original stuff that he drew back in '99 versus the HD.
Yeah.
Man, they took my drawing and made it so much more clean. I wish technology back then. He says they did it. He's like, they did a great job.
Yeah.
Because they were able to take these little basically pixel little sprites and turn them into actual, 3D rendered characters. Looks so much sharper and cleaner. You can see what it is. Even on a big screen, it's just sharp, clean, really nice.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's it really makes it more enjoyable and more playable. It's really lovely. It's and actually Ubisoft made a HD version as well, but they were like, we don't have the source code for the expansion, so sorry, but it's only Restoration of Erathia, and all the bugs and everything is still there. It's like, I mean, if people who doesn't even work as programmers, if they can like reverse engineer the game, why the hell can't Ubisoft do it? It's like, here's a multi-billion-dollar company. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we only gave you a certain amount of resources to work on this, and it's like they just kind of redrew but didn't really complete the job.
Yeah.
They really, I love the idea, but they just didn't finish the job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was really hyped about it as well. At first, it's like, oh wow, this is gonna be great, and then it's like, oh no, we lost the source code. Oops.
Like, okay, this is the original. There's no expansions. It's cool, I guess.
But why? Okay, why would I play that?
The whole, yeah, that's a $15 wasted, but whatever.
Yeah.
But now, Horn of the Abyss and all the other expansions, you just get it. So
yeah,
works really good. You have to obviously own the original game, but I bought it, Heroes, because I had all the discs and I had all the boxes and all that stuff. But just through moving and having kids, and you can't keep all that stuff forever.
Yeah.
I went to GOG and got, I think it was like $3. Like,
yep. Yeah.
And I've just playing it since, man. It's a really, really good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, the GOG version is really good as well. It's stable and it's patched up, and it's working great even on Windows 10, and it's that's amazing as well. I think we're really lucky to have that it's still working so good even on the newer operating systems as well. It's like
exactly. And I've loved that GOG took the time, and not just with Heroes, but all of these just legendary older games. Make them work on Windows 10, and that's, good job, guys. Stuff games that otherwise, honestly, would have been completely forgotten about.
Yeah,
it's back and they make them work. It's really great. So.
Yeah, they're incredible. It's I remember like stumbling across the site like many years ago, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute. It's actually for a price that I am willing to pay for an old game.
Yes,
that I have a copy of at home, because just like I have like, I don't know, 10 copies of Heroes 3 at home in like physical versions down in the basement now, but
I still have, and I don't know where it's at right now, but I have a sealed version of Heroes 2 Gold. And I kept that on purpose. And it's got the original disc. It's got the CD music, you know what I mean? Unopened.
Wow.
And I'm going to hold on to that one.
yeah, you really should. It's I have the gold version as well, but not sealed. I do have Might and Magic, like book 1 Might and Magic, that is sealed. So from like
good.
80, yeah, that cost like $100 or something. But yeah,
Man,
yep, it's it was
I
worth
have
it.
all the and all that stuff. Did you ever play the standalone Heroes 3?
The
Like
Chronicles, or
Chronicles, yeah.
yeah,
Did you ever play them?
I love them.
They're good. I was responsible for, let's see. Let me look it up real quick
Yep.
here. Here, dog and Underworld. What's the name of the game? Actually, I haven't played that game in a while. Heroes 2.
Let's see, I think.
Conquest of the Underworld is the one that I made.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the one. I was responsible for that entire standalone game.
Wow.
So you want to see my work and my work only? I'm bragging at this point, but that's the one.
Yeah, that's why you're here. I mean, we're just here for the bragging.
Yeah, exactly. So that one I really put my heart into.
Yeah.
We just released Shadow of Death, and it was, of course, a huge success.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, real quick on that game was released with a lot of major bugs, like non-working maps. And, there was a campaign that was like completely broken. Like, oh no, we released that.
Oh.
We patched it. But we didn't. It was like, oh crap. There were maps that literally not playable.
Yeah.
Like you're running around and like, there's no. And so we had to release this huge patch. We're like, dang it, we're so sorry. Oh my gosh. But anyway, 3DO wanted one more release of Heroes 3 before moving to Heroes 4. So it's kind of a prequel to Heroes 3. It was supposed to take place between Heroes 2 and Heroes 3. So we built these games. Warlords of the Waste, Conquest of the Underworld was its time. And it was interesting because in building that game, each of us had our own standalone version. So me, I had Conquest. Dave had, I think he had Warlords of the Wasteland. Each level designer had his own.
Yeah.
But we each had to use only certain portions of the game. Like, I know, for example, I couldn't use a stronghold or anything to do with dirt. Correctly. Anyway, completely sections of the game that I couldn't use because it was being used in the other chapter.
Yeah.
So we kind of highlighted each certain part of the game for each individual chapter of the Chronicles.
Wow.
Worked out, actually.
Yeah,
So
I love that storyline with Tarnum, like being all these different kind of personalities throughout the story, and just like it's one of the best character developments I have played through. It's incredible.
Yeah, and then we all wrote our stories and came up with the, kind of here, what, where do I win? And then we had a professional writer, fantasy writer, come in and kind of polish things up.
Wow.
So we're not writers, we're level designers. We're okay at writing, but he took those ideas and rough drafts and actually turned it into an actual story.
Yeah.
So that was a huge help. So it was really nice to be able to play your game, and then you read like a stanza, like, this is a great little story going on right now. It helped us out quite a bit doing that. So with the team effort of here, and we work together, hey, this is happening now. Well, what's going to happen here? And this is what I want to happen. He's at level 4 right now, and he has to fight this town.
Yeah.
Create a little bit of the story for that, So it was just kind of a build as you go, and it worked out really, really well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible. It's like actually it wasn't long ago, like the first time that I actually played through them, and I was like, wait a minute, why haven't I played these before? It's like all
Right.
I remember is like my dad saying like, no, you shouldn't get those games. It's they're just trying to make money by releasing a few maps. It's nothing new. And I'm like, okay, because I was like 8 then, I guess 8 or 9 or something. It's like, okay then.
They were $25, man. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's weird too. Something else. When we did these Chronicles, we released 4.
Yeah.
4 different versions of the game. There are 8 now.
Yeah.
So who? And honestly, honest question: who made the other 4? Because we didn't.
Really?
Yeah, we released 4. There were 4 boxes that we released for Heroes Chronicles.
What?
And, Conquest of the Underworld was one. Warlords of the Wasteland. I think Master of the Elements and Clash of Dragons.
Huh.
So the other 4, honestly, to my knowledge, I don't know those.
I'm gonna get bashed for not knowing that.
Sorry. I probably will too.
Yep.
Sorry, guys. 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. It's yeah.
But yeah, the World Tree, the Fiery Moon, the Revolt of the Beastmasters, and the Sword of Frost.
Oh yeah.
To be honest, please correct me. I will accept your correction humbly. I don't know. I don't know who made it. So.
Oh yes. Speaking of that, like, I don't know how deep you are into like the lore and story and all that, and how much you can remember, but with all like the happenings between Heroes 3 and Heroes 4, there was like some huge things going on, like who survived, like on the other side of the teleporters, those who didn't go through the teleporters to, is it Axios, right? I think. I don't know. To the other world, to the new world. But was there any plans to like release some sort of a story, to tie like the happenings of Heroes 4 and 3 together?
I believe originally there was.
Yeah.
I left in the very early stages of Heroes 4.
Yeah.
So to answer that question, to be honest, I don't know what became of that, because I was already out of the picture even in the very early alpha stages.
Yeah.
So as far as releasing any stories from what happened between Heroes 3 and 4, honestly, I don't just I can't answer that question. I just don't know. So
no.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's I think it's kind of a mystery as well. You get all these like loose ties, with Jello, the orange-haired Vori elf guy. I think he just like runs off in the woods or something with this sword of frost, and it's kind of crazy, and somebody should do a long campaign on that.
Yeah. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. What I'd like to do is take those loose ends.
Yeah.
And make a campaign of those loose ends.
Yeah.
The ones that never get really played the game, or ones that are just out there unanswered. I mean, it would take a lot of doing.
Yeah.
But I think a group effort of enthusiasts get together and do that over a period of a year. That would be really kind of a wrap up, closing all of the open doors and wrapping it up very nicely. I think it'd be great.
Yeah, and even like releasing the Forge would be great too.
Yes, that would be, bring the Forge back. That's a very good idea.
Yeah,
if it's, I don't even know. I don't even know where you get it, to be honest, because it was trashed in the design of the game. So I think it just, we don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's like there's an old town screenshot from E3 development. The E3. I think 3DO was there, and they were showing off the Forge.
Right.
And then there's also like some concept art and stuff like that that has been released as well. I think you can just like Google the Forge Heroes 3 and you will get some. Actually, there have been a few releases as well, but they haven't stayed 100% true to the original thought, so to speak. So there's always some tampering with it.
I actually just looked it up here, and I just saw a screenshot. I'm like, there's this like kind of a zombie-looking character.
Yeah.
With a laser gun. I'm like, okay, the laser gun, you don't need that. Basic ammunition and bullets, but I see lasers. No. Like, no, guys, I don't think so. But looking at here, you get this the Forge. I think honestly, looking at it now again, it's very futuristic. It looks like Disneyland, Futureland, Tomorrowland. It structured it not to have so many neon lights.
Yeah.
not many, and the lasers, like, they could have redone it
Yeah.
to be maybe more of a cyberpunk theme
Yeah.
instead of a futuristic Highlander theme. You know what I mean? So I think it would have been a lot better if we did that. Like, you got concept drawings here of a tank.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna ask about that as well. It's the Naga tank, the bare-chested one. It's
kind of stupid.
It's controversial. Yeah, I think I think they said that they would never go through doing that. Painting all the details out, so to speak.
Like, you want the tank? Put that in Battle Tanks. Don't put that in Heroes. Battle Tanks was one of the dumbest, greatest games of all time.
Yep.
You just drive around a tank, you blow everything up. It's super cool. Very weak story. You just blow stuff up. Still, my kids and I play. It's like it is the dumbest, greatest game of all time.
Yeah. That kind of reminds me of Broforce. If you play that, it's like it's like small pixel guys like Rambo, and that's also hilarious. It's
Exactly. It's a fun romp. You just blow crap up and you're good.
Yeah.
And I honestly, dude, I mean, looking at this, I think a more cyberpunk theme would have gone a lot farther than Highlander,
Yeah, the really futuristic stuff. Yeah. So I'm thinking about making those 3 quick questions to kind of close out for now. Even though I really don't want to, I could go on with this all night. So these are basically taken from the Celestial Heavens website, that I do this interview for. So this is like the basic questions going back to like 2006 or even earlier. And they're all Heroes of Might and Magic 3 related. So the first one, might or magic?
Might.
Might.
For sure. I've never been a Magic fan, just to be honest with you. I prefer Might, which inspired the Heroes of Might Not Magic map.
Of course.
Because I like Might. Yeah. I like fighting, bash them over the head with your force instead of using fairy dust,
That's why you and Tim Lang go so well together. He said basically the same thing. It's like might. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Might.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So gold or experience?
Experience. Every time.
Every time,
When you run up onto a chest, unless you absolutely need the gold, take the experience every time. On the second note, there are some maps that have a level experience max.
Yes.
So if you're at level 6 and you can't go to level 7 because of the map, obviously you're going to take the gold. There have been so many times where you walk up to a chest, I'm maxed out on my levels, take the experience, and you can't get it, and you just lose it. Like, So if you can take the experience and it'll benefit you, always take the experience.
Yeah.
Otherwise, take the gold.
Yeah, that's also a good thing for map makers. If you have a max level, place it in the map description, like max level 24 or whatever. Here it is.
Exactly.
So you can plan that. Because I hate that as well. It's like, okay, I'm gonna take the experience, and like, you can't gain any more experience in this scenario. It's like, but I could have taken gold. Yeah. And the final one is Titan or Black Dragon?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one. I'm going to go with the Titan because I think, at least in my brain, they're less based on magic and more based on might. Dragons, they have a tendency to lean towards the magic side along with their brute force and flame and fire. But the Titan, brutal.
Yeah. Brutal,
just brute force. That's why I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
Because, you get a legion of Titans versus a legion of dragons. I think the Titans are going to win.
Yeah. Actually, black dragons are immune to, I think it's all magic, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. That's also a good,
just pound them over the head with your force.
Yeah.
They're get beaten.
Yeah. That's another good point. If you have the Armageddon spell, and you only have dragons in your army, then you can wipe everybody else out.
Exactly.
That's
So
peak balance.
Cool. Exactly. I'm wearing just real quick. I'm wearing a Dungeon Bite. Tim Lang was nice enough to send me this shirt to wear for this interview. Dungeon Bite Games, guys, you need to go there and support. He's designing a new game, very influenced by the Might and Magic universe.
Yes.
I played it. It's coming along quite nicely, and I like the fact that he took kind of a light sense of humor, but in a very serious role-playing game.
Yeah.
So you talk to the guards, they're going to crack a joke. They're going to do something that just makes it fun, and it's a really solid game. And if the name escapes you, I apologize.
Yeah, it's Eowyn's Legacy, right? I got that
Legacy.
pronunciation wrong the first time in the last interview, and after that I was like, I'm just gonna call it the game.
Eowyn's Legacy is really good. It's in beta right now. You can go to his website, Dungeon Bite Games. This is a dream of Tim, so I'm going to brag on Tim a little bit. His passion has been music, video games, and writing great books. And he is living one of his dreams right now. The game is coming together quite nicely. It's a very playable demo right now. If you haven't looked at it, give it a chance. It's a sharp-looking, kind of a first-person, just like Might and Magic, but it's got obviously newer graphics, newer mechanics. It's a sharp-looking game. Yeah. It was actually originally going to be a top-down view, or kind of an isometric view.
Yeah,
and it was cool, but it just didn't have the same. You couldn't get yourself into the game. You know what I mean? As where the first person, that style of role playing, and you're doing quests and things like that, you're actually in there. You're in the game, and it's. I'm very impressed with it. It really is. I think you should give it a chance. It's a solid game.
Yeah, I've tried it as well, and it's a really good game. And also, if you go to Dungeon Bite, you can get the same shirt as you're wearing as well for a good price.
Exactly. Yeah, it's I don't know how much they are, but he's got several shirts. Dungeon Bite. It's funny because he and I used to dream about starting a video game company back when we were in junior high. Mm-hmm. Dungeon Bite was not the name. It was Midgiesoft, Midgie. Midgie was a character in some of his earlier fantasy stories. Oh. So he explained it to me where he got the name. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But Midgiesoft was going to be the name, but he decided to go with Dungeon Bites.
Oh.
So interesting. It's a little tidbit there.
Yeah.
Hope he doesn't get getting a story out there. But yeah, check it out. Dungeon Bites. Great shirt, great games. Tim's just an all-around great guy. He's great imagination, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the finished product because it's going to be a solid game from front to back. I've been helping him Q&A whenever I can. Little bits here, little bits there. Okay, now we got this over here. It's again, it's just going to be a great game.
Yeah. And also you can join them on Discord to discuss the game and actually be a part of development as well. I think he will have some more contests with where you get to design a level and he will put it in the game if you win. So that's also another good thing. And actually I'm not wearing my Dungeon Bite shirt because it hasn't arrived yet. Otherwise okay. I will be having one as well.
And that's great. Yeah, cool. That's great, man. Because it's a work in progress, and you're literally experiencing my best friend's dream.
Yeah,
it's really great. So I'm going to support him as much as I possibly can. Actually, you saying that there's a level design, I didn't even know that. So I'm going to have to dig my heels into that and see what that's all about because that's exciting.
Yeah,
that's
there's
really
only been one winner so far. It's. But I think he said that he will have a couple more of them, and he's always open to discuss game mechanics and game design as well. It's really wonderful. I love hanging around on their Discord as well.
Yeah,
it's great, and everybody should be there.
He's a talker. He's passionate about what he does, and literally many times we've talked literally all night about creating this video game company and creating Midgisoft and creating these games that are just incredible. And just, I know that. And I've known Tim for 35 years now.
Yeah.
Old, but but it's a passion he has. And if you haven't checked it out, go to Dungeon Bytes and download the game. It's a free download. Check it out. It's really solid. I can't wait till it's finished.
Yeah, me neither. So thanks a lot for joining us as well, and thanks for your time, and thanks for letting us know some new stuff about Heroes 3 as well. It's been really great.
Awesome. No problem, man. Anytime. I really, really appreciate you having me.